Is it possible to use 2 secret letters to have anything and everything that's adversely pulling down your FICO score permanently removed off your credit forever? Well, the answer is yes, and in this video I'm going to share with you what this 2-point power punch strategy is, how you can use it right away, and how you can have these adverse accounts permanently taken off your personal credit reports forever in the next 30 days. So let's get into it. Okay, so if you have not watched my channel in a while, I'm going to give you the quick and dirty in about 30 seconds on how to start the dispute process, because you have to have done at least 1 round of disputes to be able to do the 1-2 punch method. So for those of you that are new here or have not done your dispute processes yet, all of you should know by now that I'm a huge contender of doing physically mailed disputes to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion by way of trackable mail. And you're going to have to send in a copy of your driver's license. Ideally, your driver's license has your current address on it, as well as 2 utility bills that also show your name and address. And if you don't have 2 utility bills that show your name and address, maybe somebody else pays the utilities, then the next best thing would be maybe a car payment statement, a credit card statement, or a bank statement that shows your name and current address. You do need to have those 3 different verifications, because otherwise what typically happens with the credit reporting bureaus is to save themselves and buy themselves some time. They will kick back your letter saying, we don't believe that this is really you. We believe that maybe you're working with a credit repair service, blah, blah, blah. They'll send you a form letter in the mail to buy themselves an extra 30 days. So you want to basically nip that in the bud. You want to make sure that with your dispute letters for your round 1 disputes, and ideally with all your rounds of disputes, that you always have your ID and those 2 utility bills in with your dispute letters. Again, 1 goes to Experian, 1 goes to Equifax, 1 goes to TransUnion. By way of trackable mail. You wait 30 days from the date that they received it, and now we're ready to move on to phase 2 now that everybody is caught up. So I'm assuming that some of you have some things that are simply not falling off your credit reports. Maybe you have a charge-off or a judgment or something that's just simply not falling off, and you need to go to phase 2. Now, I talk about my empty envelope strategy, or a strategy in which you can actually contact directly the creditors and collection agencies that are still having things on your personal credit. But you might want to hold off. If you've already done that, that's great. You wait your 30 days on that, whether you sent them an empty envelope by way of certified mail. You can watch my other video about that, or whether you actually sent them a demand letter, showing proof that you actually have an account. Again, you have to wait 30 days. If you've done that, again, you're going to send that certified mail. But maybe you haven't done that part yet. Maybe you just are frustrated, or maybe you've just done all of it, and there are certain accounts that are simply not being removed off your personal credit reports, and you've done everything. And basically, once you get that devastating updated, meaning that the credit reporting bureaus will send you a notification in the mail that says updated, which means that they didn't do anything, and this negative stuff is still remaining on your personal credit reports, that is like the death word, updated, because we don't want it to be updated. It essentially means it just basically, it's solid. It's stuck there like Gorilla Glue, and it's probably never going to come off your credit if you don't understand the secret 1-2 punch, okay? So we're going to be talking about the 1-2 punch strategy. This will actually get the rest of that stuff, that stuff that's just not coming off your credit, the devastating stuff that's been updated in the system that they're just not going to investigate anymore. We're going to talk about exactly how you're going to force them to remove that stuff off your credit in this 1-2 punch strategy. So let's talk about phase 1 of the 1-2 punch, okay? So it's what we call an MOV letter. And MOV stands for Method of Verification, and you can actually get this for free at my website, getdisputeletters.com. It's down below in the description box. If you have a hard time getting to that link, I have a new second link in case you're having problems getting to the first one. And both of the links have basically the same letters. So you basically get your method of verification, and the method of verification is sent to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. You can either send it certified or trackable. If you do decide to send it trackable, just basically put trackable mail up here instead of certified. You'll be able to see it on the letter when you download it. It's a Microsoft Word document, which means you could basically seamlessly and effortlessly go ahead and put your own data and information in all the brackets. Be sure to remove the brackets, because the brackets make you look unprofessional. So obviously you see the date, which is in brackets. Put today's date or the date that you mail it out. Take the brackets out, because again, it makes you look unprofessional. Makes you look like you're doing a form letter, using a form letter. So basically, it has all the legalese, and it essentially tells them that they, by federal law, have to provide proof of their investigation. And so the problem with many of these credit reporting bureaus is that they're lazy, they do everything online, they don't actually verify the debt. And the problem with that, unfortunately, is that the stuff ends up staying on your personal credit forever because they're just simply saying, yeah, we did an investigation, and they put it through the system that they did the investigation, and guess what? It stays on your personal credit, and they did no investigation. So you, as a credit consumer, by law, by federal law, you have the right to see what kind of investigation they did. And once you prompt them by sending this letter by way of trackable mail or certified, demanding that they show proof, and you have all the legalese, you have all the, what they're required to do by law, how they're supposed to offer their method of verification of the debt, and they have to provide proof that they actually did the investigation. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what are they really going to do? Well, this is upping the ante, because let me tell you how the credit reporting bureaus work. They assume that maybe you read some, $5 book that you got off Amazon about credit repair, and you're just doing phase 1 of it, which is the dispute process. You're mailing in your disputes, and once you get an updated, which is the devastating updated word, that's like the worst word in the credit reporting bureau dictionary, is updated, because that means it's on your credit and it's not coming off. They just assume you'll go away. 99% of the people will go away. They're just like, oh, well, I guess it didn't work out for me. And then they just, disappear, because most people don't understand that as a consumer, you do have laws that still work in your favor, believe it or not. And so why not use these laws? These are federal laws that are on the books, and you can actually use these in your favor. So most people don't actually do a method of verification. In fact, I would say maybe less than 1% of the people that dispute things on their credit reports don't even know that this letter exists, okay? And again, you can get it for free. GetDisputeLetters.com down below in the description box below this video. You can get this letter for free, and you could fill in your personal data and personal information. So how does this work? Well, you send this letter, now here's the hard part. I'm going to be honest with you, because maybe you have multiple accounts that you disputed. Maybe you have, say, 5 disputes that you disputed with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Ideally, they would have been closed accounts, but whatever they are, it doesn't matter. You've done 5, and maybe say 4 are still on your credit reports and 1 fell off, okay? So that's pretty good, but we still have 4 that we need to have removed, and you got the devastating updated information from the reporting bureaus where they're basically not going to take it off, and they claimed and they lied and they said that they did an investigation. So that's where this letter comes in. So now here's the hard part for you, because you can't just send 1 letter for the remaining 4 accounts. You have to send 1 letter per account. So if you have 4 different accounts that you're still disputing, that you already sent dispute letters in that did not come off, you're going to have to do 4 different letters and send 4 separate letters to Experian, 4 separate letters to Equifax, and 4 separate letters to TransUnion. I know that's harder. It's easier if you could just throw all 4 accounts on here, but you can't do it. You shouldn't do it that way, okay? So when they get this letter, they know that, number one, you know your consumer's rights, because most people don't know. They just walk around, in a stupor, and they don't even do any research on how they can, protect their consumer rights. So they now know that you are not one of those people. But they also know that there is quite now a possibility that they might get sued if they don't provide this information, because by law they have to. Again, all the legalese is here for you. Just use this letter that you can get for free at GetDisputeLetters.com down below, or the alternative website that I now have up, which is a mirror website of the Get Dispute Letters. So you do this, you send it trackable mail. It doesn't have to be certified. I know it says certified at the top. Does not have to be certified. But if it's not going to be certified, just change certified to trackable mail. And then you wait 30 days from the day that they receive it, okay? So they're going to receive it. Say it's the 1st of the month. Then you wait 30 days, and then maybe you want to wait till the 1st of the next month to then start the process of phase 2 in our 1-2 punch strategy. So what is phase 2? Well, this is the fun part for me. I know a lot of you start to freak out and get scared. Oh no, I don't know if I can follow through with this, but I like this stuff, because if you thought that only less than 1% knew about the method of verification, or MOV letter, even fewer have the balls to do this part, okay? Now this is the fun part, because this is when stuff starts to really fall off your credit. And by the way, I like to add another couple strategies to this on top of this letter, which I'll talk about in a second. So let's just talk about this letter. So after the 30 days goes by, if they don't favorably remove some of these or give you some kind of valid method of verification, which many times they don't, it'll just be some printout, or maybe they won't even get back to you at all, who knows. But if they do not favorably update those accounts or remove them altogether, then it's time for the second punch here, which is after 30 days goes by, you don't get the result that you want from this letter, then you send this letter. Now this is a legal letter, and again, you can get this for free off my website at getdisputeletters.com down below, or the Mirror website that I have, which is the new one. And it's basically a legal threat letter, which basically says that because they did not provide proof and you disputed it and you had them do an investigation, they did an improper investigation as per federal law, you sent them, a letter stating that you wanted proof of the investigation and their method of verification, they failed to do that properly. Doesn't matter if they sent you something or not. Was it proper documentation? Anybody can send a printout saying this is what I did, that's what I did. Okay, well, is that proper documentation? I can literally write a book report, not even knowing who you are or what you investigated or what you wanted investigated. I could literally write maybe a 1 to 2 page report saying everything that I did. We sent the letters off to, or we sent a request off to your creditors, and, they responded. Okay, well, is that a proper verification of the method of verification? Validation? No, it's not. Anybody can send a book report on what they claim they've done. That is not a valid investigation. It's almost like going to the police department. Maybe there's some kind of mystery of some, theft or something. And, if the police officer says, yeah, we checked into it. And here's a report saying just that. We checked into it. Okay, well, what did you do? Did you question any witnesses? Did you talk to anybody? If so, who did you talk to? When did you talk to that person? We need a time date stamp of everything you've done, of the line of questioning you use. That would be a valid, method of verification of them doing an investigation in a real world crime situation. This is no different, folks. You think that this is different, it's not. You take this just as seriously, okay? So if they did not show any kind of valid proof other than a book report, I call it, of them claiming they connected with somebody and never really did because they can't even show proof of what they got, then you do step 2. Now this is the legal threat letter. This is the letter that you're going to actually cite. Again, you're citing the law here, folks. You're not just saying, oh, I'm just going to sue you because I think that this is all bogus, because it technically is bogus, but you're actually showing the law here, the statutes, okay? Very, very important, all right? And if you thought, like I said, 1% knew about this, even fewer have the balls to do this. Now this is the fun part, because then you're going to notice that things are going to start falling off. They do not want to deal with a lawsuit, even a small claims lawsuit in your local area. Yes, your small claims lawsuit would be in your area because you are the one being damaged by this. This is damaging. All this stuff that's not coming off your credit reports is damaging you. It's damaging your ability to be able to get lower interest rate car loans and car leases and credit cards and even getting a job. It's messing with your livelihood, which means that that's considered damages, even punitive damages. So therefore, you can sue them for not removing this and not validating the debt, which means now we do a legal threat letter. I do recommend that it's certified. People always ask me, well, Monica, it's going to a P.O. box. Does anybody sign this stuff? Yes, they do. Some little schlep rock that has to start his job in the mailroom at minimum wage. They usher him off into the post office where he's got to stand in line for an hour. And he probably has to do this 3 times a week at least. And he has a rubber stamp, and he just stands there and he stamps hundreds of these disputes, maybe even thousands of these things coming through to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. So yes, that stamped certified letter does count. Now I know some of you are like, oh, I don't ever get the green cards back. Well, I'm sorry that you have some kind of, Pony Express 2-horse town post office, or maybe they're lazy or somebody's throwing it away someplace. So if that's the case, then just do just do trackable mail then. It's a little cheaper, and you don't have to worry about getting the green cards back. And so trackable is just as fine with this. You don't have to use certified. I only like to reserve certified, by the way, just for creditors, sending stuff to creditors and collection agencies. You can just use trackable. It's cheaper, faster, easier, and then you know that you'll get the tracking number from the U.S. Postal Service where you can track the day that they receive it. So the day they receive it is when the ticking time bomb starts, okay? So then what do you do after this? Well, you can wait the 15, it cites 15 days, but I would wait the whole 30 days. And usually you'll start to notice things falling off. Now in the meantime, once they receive this letter, there is other stuff you can do, okay? I recommend that you file complaints. So at the same time as them realizing that they're about to be sued for their lack of verification, and how they were able to do their investigation for your accounts, what's happening now is that they realize they're about to be sued. In the meantime, I want you to file a complaint with the Attorney General in Pennsylvania against TransUnion, with the Attorney General in the state of Georgia against Equifax, and with the Attorney General in the state of Texas against Experian. So what's going to end up happening is you could do all of these online. You can actually do them. There's actually a spot for most of the Attorney General websites where you can actually specifically specify that it has to do with credit reporting issues, because I know they get a ton of these complaints. And what ends up happening is those different attorney generals in the different states, they will actually send out form letters to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, added on to this letter now that they've already gotten. And you can also file a complaint with Consumer Finance. Now, a lot of people complain about this too, because they're starting to dismantle this this consumer bureau that's supposed to protect people like you and me. They're starting to dismantle it. There's only a few people that work there now in comparison to last year at this time. However, usually when you use the online form system and you file a complaint, and again, there's going to be a separate complaint, one for Experian, then do a new complaint, one for Equifax, new complaint, one's for TransUnion. They'll get a form letter in the mail as well, okay? You want as many form letters to be coming to these bureaus as possible. And finally, you should do a regional Better Business Bureau complaint as well against, again, all of these different credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, in their local Better Business Bureau. Now, I know you're probably going to be complaining, Monica, Consumer Finance doesn't do anything, the Better Business Bureau is a joke. That's fine. It's not even about that, okay? What it's about is all of these letters coming in. It's pouring in to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion on your behalf in reference to all of this that's going on. So in addition to them having to provide proof of the method of verification, now they're about to get sued, plus now they're getting all these letters from these different bureaus or these different entities or departments that are government, except for the Better Business Bureau, and now it's starting to look serious, okay? And so I've noticed that when I do all this stuff, yes, it's extra work, but it does get those nasty things that are on your credit that are just simply not coming off. They start to come off quick, okay? They start to come off really, really quick. And so I recommend you do all of it. You know, throw everything against the wall in the kitchen sink just to see how it's going to come off. And you're going to notice that maybe 3 out of the 4 actually end up falling off, or maybe all 4 of the 4 will end up falling off. So what happens if it doesn't work, or if you're unable to get all of them off? Then what is the next step? The next step is filing a lawsuit. Do not be afraid of filing the lawsuit, because if they just gave you that book report investigation like I just told you, which did not prove that they actually did an investigation, then guess what? That's not proof. Okay, that is not a method of verification as per federal law, as per the federal law that shows up on this letter. It's not an actual method of verification. It's just a book report. It's just trying to pacify you, and it does not count. So if you can actually file a lawsuit in your county against Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, then you're going to notice that the stuff's going to fall off, because they don't want to send anybody out. They don't want to have to, you know, and I know people argue with me, well, you know, they could do a phone, you know, okay, do you think that they want to spend money on their attorneys and on a law firm or their internal attorney network to waste their time doing a Zoom meeting with a judge in your county about this? Probably not, okay? So you're going to start to notice that things are going to start falling off quickly because you're not worth it to them. And that's a good thing. You are not worth it to them. You're not worth the legal fees. You're not worth the lawyers. You're not worth the time. You're not worth the effort. So when you're noticing that you're getting all these form letters in the original initial dispute process, that's because they're used to dealing with child's play. People that only read a little bit of a credit repair book that probably only told them to do that and nothing else. That's child's play. We're up in the ante with this 1-2 punch here by basically showing the credit reporting bureaus, oh, no, we're not in the child's play sandbox here. We're not just doing disputes. We now know the law. We know the law is consumers. We're going to be using the law. And if you don't want to abide by the law, you're going to get sued for it. Okay? So what do you do? How do you sue? How do you sue them? Well, you actually, again, have to file against Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You can use the squabbleapp.com to do it if you don't want to go down to your county, or you can just, go down to your county. A lot of times these counties allow you to file small claims lawsuits online, and you basically go for the maximum. So it's going to be against a business, which is going to be more than a person. So a business in some counties, it'll allow you up to $10,000. Some counties it'll allow you up to $7,500. So it just depends on what county you're in that determines what the maximum allocation amount is in your county for which you could sue somebody for. So you're going to use the max, and it's going to be for punitive damages, because then a judge has to determine how much did this damage your personal credit have in this negative stuff. That's up in the air, and that's up to the judge, because it could have been worth more $10,000, because maybe you were unable to get that job to support your family because you had this negative crap on your credit that did not come off because they refused to do an actual valid investigation. So the judge could award you the maximum, and the credit bureaus know this, okay? They know this. And so that's why you'll notice that things will start falling off. Do not feel afraid of having to get to the point of filing the lawsuit. And certainly don't be afraid of threatening with a lawsuit either. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. The ceiling's not going to fall in on you. They're not going to send goons out to break your kneecaps. None of that's going to happen. But you need to take the bull by the horns, be strong about this, grow a pair, and actually do this stuff if you want this crap to fall off your personal credit, right? So that's what I call the 1-2 punch. Hopefully you guys found that this was valuable. If so, give me the nice thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel. If you have some other questions that you want me to answer about credit, go ahead and drop them in the comments down below. And if there's any other videos that you want me to cover as far as any kind of credit repair or getting money, unsecured funds for starting a business, by all means drop that in the comments below as well. Also, make sure that you get my free dispute letters, including these 2 new babies here, which you can get at getdisputeletters.com, or my Mirror website, which also is down below. And make sure you sign up for my school community, where you can get free downloadable books, including my Credit Millionaire book. You can get that for free by going to school.com/Monica Main, and you can join a community of over 4,000 of you like-minded individuals that are not only fixing your credit, but also getting the ultimate side hustle businesses together as well. And we teach all that stuff for free in my school group. So again, that's school.com/Monica Main. This is Monica Main signing off, and I will see you in the next video.